Now, just imagine this. In just one single hour, not a full day, not a week, you could remove up to 97% of the things that have been weighing you down for years. Sounds impossible, doesn't it? But that's exactly what a 79-year-old woman managed to do. She no longer had the strength to bend down under the bed. Her memory wasn't sharp enough to recall everything hidden in the closets, and she had failed countless times at decluttering her home. Yet with nothing but a simple timer and one firm decision, she turned a room full of tripping hazards into a space where she could finally sleep peacefully, not just because it was clean, but because she felt a deep sense of emotional relief. Her story didn't begin with a tidy space. It began with despair, and it didn't end with perfectly labeled shelves. It ended with a quiet, powerful feeling. I finally did it. So, if you're looking around your home with a sigh today, if there's a room you always shut the door on as you walk past, if you've ever whispered to yourself, "I don't even know where to start anymore," then this video is for you. Today, you'll learn a method that's simple, practical, and most of all, designed with older adults in mind. You don't have to clean the entire house. Sometimes, just 1 hour and one brave decision is enough to change everything. Before we go on, I'd love to know, where are you watching this from? And what time is it right now for you? Drop a comment below. A small moment from your day means a lot to us. And if you find this helpful, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you won't miss the next heartwarming stories from Senior Rise. Ruth was 79 years old, living alone in a small home in Portland, the same home where she had raised 3 children and spent nearly half her life beside her late husband. After he passed, things began to pile up. Old papers, clothes she no longer wore, things she didn't know where to put, and keepsakes she couldn't bear to part with. They didn't arrive all at once. They gathered slowly, from moments when she said, "I'll decide later," and from days when letting go just felt too hard. Then one morning, Ruth tripped over a box of old magazines in her bedroom. She lay on the floor for nearly an hour. The pain wasn't so bad, but the feeling of being trapped among the very things that once brought comfort left her shaken. "I need to change," she whispered. "Not because I want a cleaner home, but because I still want to keep living." So she tried again, this time with more effort. She bookmarked decluttering books, taped post-it notes on drawers, wrote labels that read, "Toss, keep, maybe." But when she opened the cabinet, she froze. A pair of shoes she wore at her daughter's wedding. A Christmas card with her husband's handwriting, "Every year still feels brand new because of you." A small gift from a friend who had passed. Every item was a chapter of her life, and each time she touched one, the tears returned. In the end, she closed the cabinet. Once again, she walked away. One time, her daughter came to visit and noticed nothing had changed. Ruth smiled awkwardly and said, "I'm trying that Japanese minimalism thing." But inside, she knew the truth. She was failing. Quietly and alone, she avoided having guests over. The sofa was covered in clutter, the dining table buried under random papers. Even the sound of a knock on the door made her panic. No one said anything directly, but she could see it in their eyes, that quiet concern, that distance. One afternoon, she read a statistic that stopped her heart. The average American home holds over 300,000 items, and 67% of falls in adults over 65 happen because of clutter inside their own home. Keeping everything didn't protect the past. It only made the present heavier and pushed the future further out of reach. I want you to pause for a moment. Is there something in your home, something you can't quite let go of, but that no longer brings you joy? Share it in the comments below, because chances are you're not the only one who feels this way. Before Ruth began what would become her final and most life-changing decluttering journey, she did something different. Not listing, not sorting, not planning. She simply sat down, turned off all the noise, closed her eyes, and just breathed. It wasn't some fancy meditation. It was a quiet moment to look inward, not at the room, but at the weight she'd been carrying in her heart. In that stillness, Ruth allowed herself to remember the best parts of what she'd been holding on to, like the soft cream dress she wore to a friend's wedding, hand in hand with her husband, like her mother's handkerchief, frayed at the corners, faded with time, but full of presence. And then she whispered, as if speaking directly to the past, "Thank you for walking with me. Now, I will carry your memory in my heart, not in my closet." That was the moment Ruth stepped out of the trap of physical memory. She finally understood, keeping the item is not the only way to keep the love. We don't have to carry everything forward, only what still breathes with us, not just in memory, but in our daily lives, our relationships, and our peace of mind. Before any decluttering can truly begin, you need this sacred pause, a pause of grace, a moment to breathe, to give thanks, to forgive yourself for holding on for too long. So before we continue, is there something you've kept, not because you need it, but because you're afraid to forget? Write it down, say it out loud. You may feel a little lighter and finally ready to move forward. After that quiet pause, that breath of goodbye, Ruth opened her bedroom door with a whole new mindset. She asked herself, if there were a fire, and I had just 1 hour to safely pack and leave, what would I take with me? No more vague questions like, should I keep this? Instead, she imagined urgency, and suddenly everything became clear. She picked up her husband's old wool sweater, held it for a moment, then folded it gently and placed it in her bag. Not because it was still useful, but because it gave her peace. She looked at the pile of old magazines stacked from floor to shelf. She had once said she'd reread them someday, but 7 years had passed. She took none. Her medicine drawer? That was different. She grabbed what she actually needed. Her blood pressure pills, arthritis gel, heart medication, but the expired eye drops from 2 years ago? Straight into the trash. No hesitation. On her bedside table were 3 things: a photo frame with her grandchildren, a small wooden cross, and a notebook filled with quotes she loved. She kept them all because they still nourished her today. A porcelain jar filled with sand from a trip 15 years ago? Nope. A cabinet of glass cups she had never used because she was saving them for guests? Also no. Birthday gifts she kept out of guilt? Let go. In just 1 hour of imagination, Ruth began to see clearly what was still walking with her and what was just holding her back. What about you? If you had 1 hour to leave your home, what would you take? List the first 5 things that come to mind. You might be surprised by what truly matters. And it was through that emergency mindset that Ruth realized something powerful. What she needed wasn't more time or more space. She needed a clear, simple system, one that could guide her even when she felt overwhelmed. One of the reasons Ruth had failed so many times before was decision fatigue. Too many small choices, too many what-ifs, keep or toss, set aside or think later. Who should I give this to? Will I ever use it again? The more uncertain she felt, the more exhausted she became. And when tired, she just shoved everything into a box and hid it back in the closet. But this time, she tried something else. No need for experts, no apps, just 4 big cardboard boxes. She labeled them by color and gave each one a clear rule. Red box, safety first. Anything that was a hazard, expired meds, loose cords, cracked glass, tripping risks, went straight here. No thinking. No, but maybe someday. Green box, actively used. Ruth asked herself, have I used this in the past 30 days? If not, it didn't make it into this box. The pressure cooker from 2004? No. The scissors she used every week for sewing? Yes. Blue box. Treasured keepsakes, only 10 sentimental items per room. No more. She chose the sweater her husband gave her, her son's autograph in a childhood book, a handwritten letter from her late best friend. Everything else? She took a photo, wrote down the story, and placed the memory in her heart. Not the room. Clear box. Everything else. No, maybe later. No, I'll think again next week. No more delay. If it didn't fit in the other 3 boxes, it went here to leave the house. This simple structure freed her from emotional loops. Every item had only one of 4 paths. No detours, no turning back. What if you tried this 4-box method in your bedroom? Which box do you think would fill up first? Share your thoughts below. You might be surprised by what you've been carrying for years. Thanks to those 4 boxes, Ruth was no longer overwhelmed by emotions. But to keep moving forward with clarity, she realized something important. She needed a better way to start, step by step, instead of jumping right into the hardest tasks. One of the biggest reasons seniors like Ruth, and maybe you too, feel drained while decluttering isn't physical fatigue, it's indecision. You pick up an item, you look at it. Then memories start pouring in. Who gave it to you? What it meant? When it was last used? Suddenly, you're not just holding an object, you're reliving a whole chapter of your life. Ruth once spent over an hour just deciding whether to keep an old handkerchief, and in the end, she gently folded it and placed it right back where it was. That's called analysis paralysis, a common trap for older adults, especially when faced with too many small decisions at once. To break free from this cycle, Ruth learned to make decisions in exactly 3 seconds, and each time she picked up an item, she asked herself just 3 questions. Have I used this in the last 6 months? Not, did I use it once? But did I actually use it recently? Does this item make my life easier right now? Not, maybe I'll need it someday. If it adds stress, confusion, or gets in your way, it's time to let it go. If I saw this item in a store today, would I buy it again? This question cuts through emotional clutter and brings you back to real value. Ruth donated an old chair in just 3 seconds. Why? Because it kept tripping her up. And when she asked, would I buy this again? The answer was a quiet but firm no. And that was enough. No guilt, no second guessing. Are you holding on to something you haven't used in a year? Just in case? Write it down. Try the 3-second rule and see what shifts inside you. One common mistake Ruth, and many others, made before was starting with the hardest place. Her first attempt? The garage. She thought, if I tackle the messiest spot, the rest will feel easier. But just 20 minutes in, she was already exhausted, surrounded by boxes labeled old stuff, memories, and unknown. So she shut the door and walked away. When Ruth adopted the 1-hour tough love method, she changed her strategy completely. She didn't start with the heaviest room. She started with the most personal one, her bedroom. And here's why that made all the difference. The bedroom is your private space. No guests, no judgment. You don't need to tidy it for others. You just need to breathe easier when you walk in. Decisions in the bedroom are often clearer. Clothes you haven't worn in 2 years, expired medication, broken lamps, dusty nightstand clutter. They're easier to let go of. Each small decision builds a sense of progress. The impact on your quality of life is instant. After just 1 hour of decluttering her bedroom, Ruth said she slept better. Not because the room was prettier, but because she no longer tripped over unfinished business every night. After the bedroom, she moved to the bathroom. Another quick win. Outdated toothpaste, torn towels, shampoo bottles from 5 years ago, gone. Then came the kitchen. Ruth realized she had 6 pots and 4 blenders, but only cooked twice a day. By starting with the easiest room and moving one space at a time, Ruth avoided burnout, and she built momentum she could feel. If you were to start decluttering today, which room would you choose first? The bedroom, kitchen, bathroom? Write it down, because naming it is your very first step. One afternoon, sunlight poured through the window of Ruth's freshly decluttered bedroom. She sat on a chair she had just moved closer to the light. Looking around, she saw no more boxes labeled memories. No piles of magazines from a decade ago. No broken things waiting to be fixed someday. And she exhaled slowly. In that quiet breath, she realized something powerful. She hadn't just been holding on to objects. She had been holding on to roles, identities, and memories of who she once was. That worn apron? It belonged to the mother who always cooked family dinners. The floral dress? To the wife who picnicked with her husband every weekend. The overflowing bookshelf? To the woman who taught literature for 30 years. But Ruth also knew those roles had lived fully. They had made their mark. And now, it was time to make space for something new. Her bedroom wasn't just cleaner. It was open. Open for safer movement. Open for grandkids to visit without tripping. Open for a little desk where Ruth could finally begin drawing. A dream she'd had since she was young. She no longer held on to everything to protect the past. She chose instead to protect her capacity to create a future. Let me ask you gently, are you keeping something because it reminds you of a role you once had? You can still honor that memory. 10. Safety comes first. The 5-level danger system. So 400 words. Ruth used to think decluttering was about making the house look nicer. But once she truly committed to the process, she realized something far more important. Tidiness is not the goal. Safety is what truly matters, because a home filled with memories is no longer a haven if it causes you to trip in the middle of the night. A closet packed with clothes loses its value if it stops you from bending, turning, or safely stepping out of bed. During her first week using this new method, Ruth did something she had never done before. She conducted a home safety check on her own, and what she discovered left her speechless. There were 23 hazards just along the path from her bedroom to the bathroom. Cardboard boxes, mismatched slippers, old charging cords, plastic bags. She found 8 expired medication bottles, including one for blood pressure, from 2019. She counted 15 electrical sockets and cords still plugged in, but unused. One had even started to melt slightly at the plug. She noticed a bookshelf balanced on a cookie tin, and the reading chair with a broken leg that she used every evening. From then on, Ruth created a simple system, a 5-level danger scale, sorted by urgency. Level 1, immediate hazards, sharp objects, exposed wires, broken glass, toxic substances. Level 2, fall risks, loose rugs, floor clutter, blocked walking paths. Level 3, fire risks, overloaded outlets, flammable items near the stove, old candles. Level 4, health risks, expired food, moldy items, dust buildup. Level 5, emergency barriers, blocked exits, stuck doors, unreachable phones during a fall. Ruth began addressing one level at a time, starting with level 1 on day 1. Not perfectly, just one safe zone at a time. If an accident happened at 2 a.m., could you get out of your bedroom in 30 seconds? That's not just a question. That's what will help you stay healthy, independent, and safe for years to come. There's something Ruth often says to her friends after completing her decluttering journey. I didn't just let go of things. I let go of the feeling of helplessness. For years, Ruth believed she was living among memories, but in truth, she was living among unmade decisions. Every item left out of place was a piece of unresolved memory in her heart. Every time she avoided cleaning was a moment she lost the chance to be just a little more free. And she realized something else too. No one can declutter for you. Not your children, not your relatives, not even a hired helper. Because what truly needs organizing is not just the stuff. It's the way you look back at your life and the way you choose to move forward from tomorrow. You see, Ruth had no magic trick. All she had was a timer, 4 cardboard boxes, and a heart ready to give herself permission to start again. One step at a time. Maybe you're living in a home where everything has a reason to stay. Maybe you're not delaying because you're weak, but because you've been strong for so long that you've held on to too much. But you don't need to let go of everything. You only need to start with just one thing, one item, one small corner, 1 hour. And the beautiful truth is, the moment you choose to act, you've already stepped into a new version of yourself, one that's less burdened by the past. One that feels clearer, lighter, and more at ease in the present. If you're still here with me right now, thank you truly. It tells me that you're not just looking for a way to tidy your home. You're looking for a way to breathe easier, not just in your space, but in your mind. And if Ruth's journey touched you in any way, please leave a comment below. I'm still here. Those 3 words let us know you're still walking this path and you're ready for a new chapter in life. You can also share, I'll start with or the first thing I want to let go of is, whatever it is, it's a real step, an important one, and deeply worth honoring. Thank you for being part of today's video. If you found this helpful, please hit like, subscribe to Senior Rise, and share it with a friend you believe also deserves a lighter, freer life. We'll see you in the next video, and we'll keep going, one gentle step at a time.